Yes. Okay.
There's nothing on your tip. Yeah, I didn't either. I got it in my basket, but it wasn't on mine.
I know it's rolling around.
Ready? All right. Good afternoon. It's time that we start the Muskegon County Community Development Strategic Planning Committee meeting to order with a roll call. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Foster?
Here.
Commissioner Howie Wright?
Here.
Chairman Hughes?
Here.
Commissioner Larry?
Here.
Commissioner Mahoney?
Here.
Commissioner Skolnick?
Here.
Commissioner Snyder?
Here.
Commissioner Wilkins?
Here.
Commissioner Knapp?
Here. And we have a quorum. So we'll move to item 3, approval of the minutes for October 15, 2019.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor use a vote of saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, that motion passes. Next up, item 4, public comment on an agenda item. Is there anyone in the public like to have a comment on an agenda item? You're going to break your streak, aren't you?
I'd like not to, because I don't approve the fees, but.
That's okay, we're going to move on. Item 5, items for consideration. CD SP 191113. Approve the proposed 2020 Parks fee schedule with an increase to the camping fees at Blue Lake and Pioneer County Parks to $32 per night and the Minor Park Pines Campground to $34 per night.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. Questions, discussion. Commissioner Snyder.
Well, in lieu of the prior discussion, is that going to cover our increase in costs for the operation of that campground and the associated other costs that are affiliated with the campgrounds?
It will certainly help, yes, Commissioner.
It'll help. Okay.
Our costs are covered. The parks are an enterprise fund, so the costs are covered. They come in under, well, at budget every year.
Okay. Thank you.
I forgot to mention my name, Bob Lukens, Community Development.
There you are.
I do have a question too.
Okay, go ahead.
Bob, you're talking about building a new bath now. Is that going to help cover the cost of the bathhouse?
Yes, it will.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Mahoney, I know you look like you wanted to say something.
I was going to say something. This is an excellent idea. It covers the cost. It's an enterprise fund. The county is not on the hook for anything, essentially. It's operating on that budget, and when that budget gets a little shaky, you have to increase the fees to cover the cost. If you're going to operate a park system, we have to pay for it. Thank you.
I guess I have one other question too.
Commissioner Hughes.
Bob, I know at one time we talked about putting in a pay to launch at Moore Park. Did that ever go anywhere?
Actually, now, Commissioner, we're waiting for, we're planning on development of not wilderness camping, that's the wrong term.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But
Rustic.
Rustic camping, that's
Thank you.
Rustic camping out at Moore.
I think it's a great idea too.
The parks latched onto a contract that wastewater had for some tree harvesting out at the wastewater. So last year, wastewater was able to harvest a number of trees, and this year, during the winter actually, they'll start harvesting out at Moore.
I urge you to be real cautious, because when you're talking about a rustic campground, they want the trees there.
Right, yeah, so they're just removing a few of them.
Okay.
To open up some space.
Just make sure that they don't leave the same mess there they left at the wastewater, because they just left dead trees laying all over out there.
At the, oh, okay.
At the wastewater.
Did they pull them out of there?
Nope, they just left them lay.
Oh, okay.
As a mess. But they say it's good for the forest, but it sure looks terrible.
Commissioner Larry.
Comparable rates for state parks.
Yes.
I don't know what those rates are for a state park.
They're $33 to $37. They're on a sliding scale now. So if there are, during holiday weekends and other high camping times, they adjust the rates up at the state parks. Yes.
And yours are flat?
Ours are a flat fee, yes. Right now they're $30 at Blue Lake and Pioneer and $32 at Minot. We're proposing a $2 increase at all of those campgrounds.
Thank you.
Commissioner Snyder.
You say they left the trees?
They took some of the big timber, but they left all the branches and a bunch of.
Oh, well, they left the detritus.
Some of the trees they just left lay there. They cut them down, just left them lay. They didn't take all the trees they cut down.
Did they pay for them?
I don't know. I don't know how that worked, but it makes the forest look bad, I think, but.
Now, is this at Mosquito Creek that you're talking about?
I'm talking about right on the wastewater facility.
Okay.
I haven't looked at it myself, but I'm assuming some of the trees they had to cut down, the ones they were after.
I don't know, but, I mean, they just left all the branches and, I don't know, as much time as I'm out there, I think it looks bad.
Well, I would certainly not ever want to hire those people again.
I was very disappointed, but
Serious.
when I talked to DJ, he said that, the guy said that that's good for the forest, so I just couldn't imagine all that dead trees being good for the forest, but.
I won't tell you
But I'm
what
just
trees
saying, if we
I-
want to put rustic campground, it's not gonna look good, that's for sure.
No, they've assured us in the talks that we had with them probably a year or two ago, they said that they would be as careful as possible in pulling those trees
And
out.
I'm gonna be watching them really close now.
Well, there's a road back there that they can come in. There's an access road that they can come in through the
But
back.
have you been down the access road lately? That's where they put
I have
the,
not
you can't
lately.
get down it anymore, because that's where they put the tower, right smack in the middle of the road.
But I will say that this is the second time we've raised rates. We hadn't raised rates in a number of years, and then we raised them for the first time a couple of years ago.
Yes, sir.
So this is only the second time. We probably raised them in the last decade or two, so.
At least, I think, since I've been here.
Right, so. And they're still under state rates, so that's.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, use the vote saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion passes. Next up is CD SP 1911-14, authorized award of cost reimbursed not to exceed contract to Stop Petit Waste for $101,663 for the design and construction of oversight services for Pioneer Park, Bathhouse, and maintenance building replacement projects, and authorize the board chair to sign.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or
I do have a
discussion?
question.
Commissioner Hughes.
Is this for the construction too, or is this just for the blueprints?
This is for architecture and engineering for the blueprints
So
and
this is just, you
construction
got
oversight.
$100,000 worth
It's
of
for two
blueprints?
buildings.
Aren't they gonna be identical?
No, they're not. One is a maintenance building and one is a bathhouse based on
Still
state.
$100,000 and you haven't even put a shovel in the ground yet?
I would like to defer to Steve Fink.
Our engineer.
Get him up here, will you?
He did this tie on.
Thanks, Bob.
Gratefully bows out for you.
Steve Fink, Public Works. This was a request for qualifications for architect engineer services, and it was set up to be 80% technical score, so firms were turning in their technical proposals on their qualifications. And then the ones that were in the competitive range were asked to turn in a cost proposal. And of the three that were in the competitive range, we had kind of a rarity here that the top scoring technical firm was also the lowest score in the cost proposal.
I just wondered why you didn't just go design build and eliminate this $100,000, put it towards the bathhouses.
Well, nothing gets designed for free. And this was a situation where we went with, or wanted firms that had experience in how to do a bathhouse appropriately. The particular firm that's proposed here has done the one at Grand Haven State Park at the Channel, and they currently have designed or overseen the construction of the 2 new bathhouses at Muskegon State Park.
I see that, but I don't see where they had done any county work, and I'm thinking that the state parks put a lot more money into theirs than we can afford to put into ours.
Well, actually, the state has adopted a a bathhouse model that is less expensive in the past. If you go to Hoffmaster or some of the others that have been built in the last decade, you will see Italian tile on the floor or walls, certain other things that were expensive. And they have actually gone to a model that is less expensive, and Stroud Pettit Yates is one of the firms that has done that newer model. So their specifications are largely developed, and that's one of the things that's actually quite attractive, is to take advantage of knowledge they've gained on other projects for the state that can be utilized for this bathhouse.
It just seemed like 101,000 was an awful lot for design work on a bathhouse.
Well, it's for the maintenance building too.
Okay.
So it's for 2 structures.
How big is the maintenance building?
Pardon?
How big is the maintenance building?
I think it was based on about 60 by 100. The Parks Department gave certain criteria that they wanted in the size for the bathhouse and the maintenance building. And in the end, you know, the designer will design whatever they feel that the parks can accommodate and afford. So, you know, we're kind of starting with a clean slate, but we gave them a proposed size of building, 3 overhead door bays for the maintenance building. They had a floor plan that they liked that was developed about 12 years ago, that the architect, whoever it would be, would utilize that as a starting point. So we gave each of these firms some basic parameters to build their proposals on, and what it will finally take to design and come out and oversee the construction, review the submittals and such. You know, we don't know. We hope it will be less than this amount, but that's why it's structured as a not to exceed amount.
So it's,
Commissioner Hubby Wright.
yeah, it's more than just designing it, it's overseeing the construction, which is a lot more.
Yeah, they would help out with all the permitting, because even though this isn't a state bathhouse, you still have to get a state permit to construct. And so we wanted a firm that had experience with all the aspects of, you know, building in a, you know, environmentally sensitive environment, the state permits to construct, what it'll
Do we
take.
have the money to cover this?
Bob, would you like to answer that one?
I can answer that one. At this point, there is about $500,000 in the parks reserves. What we're anticipating is taking out a loan for a portion of the funds. We estimate both projects to be in the neighborhood of between $800,000 and $1 million.
Both projects, you mean 800,000?
Both of them together.
Okay. So that's the
Commissioners,
total, okay.
Yes.
Snyder.
Including this?
No.
So you're talking $1 million for a new bathhouse and a new garage?
Between 800 and $1 million.
Okay.
Commissioner Snyder.
Well, I wonder if we ought to go back and increase the rates per night to a greater degree than we just did.
Commissioner Larry.
I'm not looking for the exact date, but do you remember approximately when the board approved this to go out for this proposal?
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Was it this year? I don't remember this coming out in front of the board for this project.
This is just for the RFQ. You know, these are the results from the RFQ, and
So the board had to approve that, though, for you to send out a proposal?
Yes, I don't recall the date, Commissioner. I'd have to go back and look. I know it was approved. It may have even been last year.
Okay, and the board knew that we were talking about $1 million project last year when they approved
I
it?
presume they did. We had some estimates, you know, that we had heard from the state park. The state park bathhouses were in that neighborhood, but actually I think now they're coming in less than that. You know, because what we're getting here are 2 buildings for that price. So the state park buildings are considerably less than $1 million now at this point.
We also have to remember that we did an approval about future projects, and we did that some time ago too, and that included everything in the county, just about including parks, and some of these things are outlined in different details.
Yes.
But we did approve it some time ago, but now we're doing some finalization on actually going through with some.
Right, a portion of the funding for this this item $56,000 of it is from an earlier capital improvement bond from 2015. So we're using the funding from that to help pay for this proposal, or these proposals.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
I have not been to either one of these parks, excuse me, but I'm assuming that they at least, but they're not condemned buildings, or
They're beyond their useful life.
Right, I understand that, but that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. But they are in use, or they were in use this season?
They were.
Okay.
And they will next year. Construction, if everything goes as planned, construction would start next fall, after the camping season is complete. The biggest comment that we hear from campers at Pioneer Park is we need a new bathhouse. This has been something we've been talking about for 10 years, and it's time to pull the trigger.
And I do recall too, we did get a report back from the parks on that before, because there was some surveys that were done.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that information specifically was brought back, that bathhouses were one of the biggest issues. And I think it could be nice for the parks, because even though we're slowly increasing, putting in a new bathhouse is actually probably going to continue our services and maybe even increase it.
I think we're full all the time though, aren't we?
I'm sorry?
Aren't we full almost all the time?
A good portion of the time,
It's
yes.
not going to increase
Yeah.
upkeep.
This also includes the removal of a small bathroom and the current bathhouse too. And that would be rolled into the price.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I did go out to the park this summer on a bike ride, and everything he's saying is correct. These need to be replaced. They are beyond repair.
$1 million worth.
I don't know what a bathhouse
It's too
costs,
big.
don't get me
It
wrong.
seems like a lot for.
It does seem like a lot for a
bathhouse.
bathhouse.
But the one that's out there would make you want to shower in your camper.
Bathrooms aren't cheap, unfortunately.
So, one more question.
Commissioner
What percentage of these parks are used by Muskegon residents versus out of county? Do you track those numbers at all?
I would have to go back and ask the staff for that. I believe they do have zip codes. A good percentage of the visitors are from out of county, and those are the visitors that we want. We want to bring people into the county who tend to spend their money more than local residents, who sometimes will camp out at the parks and then go home for dinner even.
Yeah.
So the more we get out-of-town visitors, the better economic benefits we have countywide, really, from people coming into the county and spending their time and money here.
Commissioner Nash, can I say one thing on that?
Commissioner Hughes.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on that. When we first changed things around where they could book online, I had quite a few people tell me that they were really upset with that because they couldn't get their camping spot because we were really booked out. And then a year later, I heard from them again, and they said, we found another camp. We went to Minor Park, or we went to this one, and they loved the quaintness of the little ones, and they were really at Pioneer all the time. So I don't think we lost our local people. I think they just moved to other parks that they didn't even know we had. So.
Well, and many of the local people still do patronize our parks. Many
they
of
do,
them
but they go to a lot of the little ones where they had never been before. So we didn't really lose them. We just kind of moved them around, which was a good thing, I think.
Right.
All right, are we ready to vote? All those in favor, use the vote to say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
One no. That motion passes. Next up is old business. Any old business coming before this committee? Any new business? Any new business? Commissioner Foster.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'd like to ask this board and this committee if we could look into having senior resources, senior millage money, look into possibly helping the match by paying for seniors 50% or a percentage that this board decides on. So basically to subsidize tickets for seniors,
For the bus system, for mats.
for mats.
Yes, we should definitely look into it and see what criteria again meets, and
Just want to make it aware for this committee to maybe possibly move forward.
We perhaps would have to change the age.
Well, correct, because Matt's a 65 and we use a 60 for the senior resources, so.
Are you proposing that this come out of millage money?
Correct.
No.
Well, that would have to go through the committee.
That's why I
and
said
it'd
at
have
this
to be
committee
applied
level, we
for.
move
Yeah.
forward and start investigating.
Yep. Sounds good. I think our administrator's gonna move forward with that. Any other new business? Public comment. Anyone in the public like to have a comment on the agenda item? Please step forward. Give us your name.
My name is Larry Hausman, Norton Shores. I just want to agree with Susie. I'm an avid wildlife photographer. And I don't say I'm good, but I'm an avid one. And I spend a lot of time at the wastewater. And it's a really great, Commissioner Hughes will agree with me, it's just a great resource for that. I spend the whole, it's 11,000 acres, so there's a lot of opportunity out there to see different things, but where Commissioner Hughes was talking about, it looks like a tornado went through there. I mean, it was really a nice wooded area back there, and it isn't anymore. That's just my kind. In fact, I told my wife, I spent so much time out there, I told my wife when I die she can spread my ashes out at the wastewater. She says she's not going to do it, but maybe it's not even legal, I don't know.
Call me Susie.
Just do it, don't
call me Susie anytime you want.
But it's a wonderful facility out there. And I know the goal of the wastewater is not to provide a beautiful, scenic place out there, but it's that north part is terrible. So, thank you.
And one more.
Jim Riley, Norton Shores. Just to comment on this, the trees down. Someone, if I'm correct on this, someone made a determination the trees needed to be down, and an order to do it was done. A company hired, and they were told what to do. Either whoever wrote that order wrote it very, very poorly, or the company hired to do the job didn't do the job. Neither option is acceptable, and I would certainly hope that you would bring the person in who wrote that order and find out what's going on, because that's just unacceptable. It would not be acceptable at any of your homes if you took trees down, but it's acceptable with other people's money. But the other question, the other point I'd like to make is a very, very great and enlightening conversation about what at first I thought was a small issue, which was these buildings. But and these are questions that a lot of us would like to have answered. So thank you for that. But I think it also would make some sense to go back and find out when this first decision was made to get an order to get a quote to begin this. Was the $1 million mentioned? And I think this is a problem that I've seen quite often in government, where a good idea like, oh geez, a new bathhouse would be great, people really like that. Well, guess what? People like new stuff, free stuff. People like that. That should not be a surprise to anyone. If you're going to go ahead with any kind of spending, any kind of investigation, cutting the prices for mats, what would the ultimate cost be? It seems to me you just spent $1 million that everyone in this room knows you don't have. And I think that's irresponsible.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor, use voting saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.
Right now.